Hi, this is Bobby Brown, and welcome to another fucking podcast.
My liver's all twisted up. But you know what I did? I loaded up with alcohol, more specifically vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
Who wants an orange whip? Orange whip? Orange whip? 3 orange whips.
So you're bored, are ya? I've come here to break your monotony. Let me have my piece, because I'm shooting with this one, folks. I don't care, man.
The unscripted, uncensored, loose cannon of commentary.
Why did you say that? Why? What? You come out with stink like that? Poop. Your poop mouth. Poop out of your mouth.
See, son? Old legends never die. They just lose weight.
Like a legend and an out-of-work bum look a lot alike, Daddy.
I've got a midget friend, an albino friend, and another friend who thinks Lord of the Rings is real. Together we call ourselves the Unfuckables.
Quinton is in. Let the fun begin.
Body touch.
God, you're an asshole, man.
I've never heard of it.
Hello, Hollywood. Hello, world. Hello, my loyal minions. It is good to see you, and it's always good to be seen. This is Metal Edge Magazine's another fucking podcast. Oh, do we have a great episode for you tonight? I got Joel Hoekstra from Whitesnake and Cher, and Joel Hoekstra's 13 biting his nails, just ready to come on. And I got a nice pre-recorded interview with Richie Kotzen from earlier today that you're going to love as well. Joel has a brand new record called Joel Hoekstra's 13 Running Games. We're going to talk about all of that stuff and a whole bunch more. Make sure you guys hit up all the social media at Real Izzy Presley all the way across the board. Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And of course, the show pages at Another Effing Podcast on the Facebook machine. And yeah, you can find all that stuff. Make sure you hit, you hit up the show page and you click the shop now button, and there's all this great merch available. Yes, there's even Izzy Presley leggings. Joel, I don't know if you have seen those. they are fucking bad ass.
Well, one would assume.
One
would assume.
Who would not want my face on their crotch? I don't get it.
I don't have an answer for you, buddy.
Oh my God. Oh, it's really quick. Paul Gargano obviously is out again this week. Another, what did we say before? Scheduling conflict. He should hopefully be back next week, and he will have a nice little tribute to Jerry Miller from Metal Edge, of course. And Paul, if you guys don't know, is the current owner, proprietor, and operator of Metal Edge. So we'll start this bad boy off with, in the words of my good friend Stone Cold Steve Austin, swig of beer for the working man.
All right, well, here.
Yeah, you got your, La Croche water? We're going to talk about that.
Pretty much, bro.
And, of course, a swig of whiskey for our working livers.
Oh. All right, well, this is my version of that then.
There you go. How's that been going? You've been sober for how many years now?
7, something like that, a little over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, it's been that long. It doesn't seem like it's been that long.
I know. Well, you met me right at the peak of my fun.
Yeah, right. Was it hard?
Only to get going, and then once I was going, I was kind of like, oh, I feel a lot better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you ever the need a shot and a beer before I go on stage guy, or were you always sober on stage and then
always after, except for at Rock of Ages, because that ran for so long, and we played it so many times that it was like, Bill Murray and Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
So yes, occasionally there, actually more than occasionally, like, but beyond that, no, that's not my scene.
Do you miss that? Do you miss the Rock of Ages?
No, not really. I mean, I think it was great in the time, but honestly, I mean, even in that moment, my favorite thing about it was that I could do other stuff while I did it. It was like having the ability to take off whenever I needed to made that gig really, 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 really sweet, because then I could tour with Night Ranger and TSO during that time. you know, if there came a moment where it was like, hey, are you gonna? I mean, there really kind of was that moment. They tried to like force my hand at the beginning of like, you know, Night Ranger or that, and it was like, no, 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 that's not gonna happen. And I was like,
Right.
you know, so ended up doing both, and that was what was beautiful about it. Not, you know, like, hey, I got this Rock of Ages gig, but great experience, man. Changed my life. You know, 6 years of having a gig every day, over 6 years between that and Night Ranger and TSO. So constantly on a stage, man. Blink, and I was gigging.
Yeah. Do you feel? And I was thinking about this because I mean, you're what, 50?
50.
I mean, by 2 years. Do you feel like you kind of missed the boat a little bit? Maybe came on the scene a little too late?
I mean, only in terms of, I guess, like being known for this scene. In terms
Yeah.
of like being a pro on guitar, I've been doing that my whole life. So
Right. Right.
there, you know, yes and no. I mean, there's a lot of people who never get this. So,
Right.
I mean, it's sort of like, yeah, I mean, in a way, I mean, it would be great if it was like, hey, I'm 25 right now. But, you know, at the same time, like, hey, man, who knows? I like to look at the positive side of that and go, there's a lot of people I never got to do. I mean, I say like in the last few years, you know, you say, all right, Whitesnake, Cher, TSO, Night Ranger, Rock of Ages. There's like guitar players that would kill for one of those
Right.
credits. So to be able to have experienced all of them or do all of them, I think is, you know, for me at least, that feels great. I know like, you know, there's people that probably are still like, that's it, you're happy, man. But yeah. I mean, yes, yeah. I never really, I guess, aspired to like have the cool gig. That's not, you know, I've always want like, you know, what I grew up on or was cool or what I can make a living doing and have fun, man, and be able to enjoy it. And all of those fit the bill. I mean, I love all my gigs, man, for sure.
Well, I mean, the reason I ask is, I mean, because you're at that level where, I mean, you would have been that guy in those ads in Guitar Player magazine on the cover, you know, and all that kind of stuff. You know, I mean, because you're that good.
Well, yeah, my timing in life was weird in that I graduated from GIT and like Nirvana hit. It's like,
right.
And so I was that guy, you know, I was going out there right at the time that it all just collapsed, you know, and it was like, oh, anything you're doing with chops and all that stuff. No, stop that. You know, in fact, that's when the term shredder came on the scene because it was derogatory. A lot of people use that as like as something that nowadays to like pay a compliment, you know, like, oh, dude, he's a shredder. But back in the day, that was a bad thing to be a shredder, you know. It was like, oh, don't get that guy. I mean, he's a shredder, you know. You're going to want somebody who knows how to, you know, play three chords. And so, hey, man, it actually worked out. As far as I'm concerned, it set me off on a path of doing a lot of very, very interesting things to get to the point where I got, because I had to figure out how to make a living without being able to fall back on like, hey, check it out, I can play fast. You know, it was like, I did, you know, the Love Janis show about Janis Joplin and playing, you know, an SG up here through a Fender Super Reverb with the Spring Reverb on 10. And, you know, I was in the Turtles, man. I mean, like I was their,
shit. You were in the fucking Turtles? How did I not know this?
I was their bass player for a while. I mean, these are things that, you know, the path that normal, like the people that made it famous when they were 21 years old and got the covers that you're talking about, they didn't get to have this bizarre story that I have that led me to where I am. So you know, I mean, it makes me appreciate what I have that much more. And I feel like I'm a better musician for all that too. Like I didn't just like, hey, here's what I came up with on guitar when I was 21 and now I'm famous for it and I don't ever have to get better. I've always felt like I needed to, you know, keep improving. Well, and still do. I mean, I trying to still get better on guitar, even at my old crusty age of 50 here.
Oh my! Speaking of guitar gods, on the cruise, you're kind of like the basketball guy. You're like the coach. You put these things on, and I want to show you something before we get into this because I don't know if you knew this, but let me change my background here.
No, you're gonna show me like doing something really bad at basketball.
Oh no! Take a look over my right shoulder. See that guy with the bandana?
I do indeed.
That is young Izzy. Young Izzy can ball. Just let you know that for future reference.
All right, I like that, man. You look like you'd crash the boards really well, man. Good rebounder, know how to throw some elbows.
Yeah, you know, that's the hockey in me.
Yeah, you know, that whole thing kind of it snowballed in a hurry. It's like, that the Ron Burgundy that escalated quickly because I think it was 2, 3 years ago on the cruise. I was up on deck and I was shooting, just enjoying my time out there, and I ended up balling with some cruisers, and you know what? We had the best time.
Yeah.
And I immediately was like, wow, if I were them, I'd probably be like, that was really cool. Like, because we weren't talking at all like, you talk at a meet and greet or anything like that. It was like we were hanging for real.
Yeah, exactly.
Not there was no divide between. And I was like, so I said to them, I said, hey, what I want to do next year is play people one-on-one. So they can, take me on. I'll just do this one-on-one. I thought, otherwise, you get people hurt or whatever. And next thing I knew, Richie, who's going to be on here in a little bit, Larry told me, oh, Kotzen wants in. He likes the ball. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Maybe we'll do like a 2-on-2 thing. And next thing you knew, it was Jeff Scott Soto. And then it was like we ended up growing. I think that first year we made it official, turning it into like kind of a 4-on-4 half court. Might have been 3-on-3 half court, and we were subbing in and out. So even that felt very like, okay, that was fun. And but then last year it turned into uniforms and full court and 5-on-5, and it was like, man, I don't know what people are expecting here because we're just guitar players. But I'd like to think that somewhere in this whole madness of like me telling you all the crazy things like I was in the Turtles and stuff like that. I can brag that I had on a basketball team. I had, in addition to myself, but Doug Aldrich, Gary Sharon, Nuno Betancourt, Richie Kotzen. We were balling together. Now, come on, that's worth the price of admission right there, man.
I brought this up to Richie, and I don't know if Richie always gets my humor, but a lot of people don't either. Just think about the Lloyds of London insurance on the fingers on that one side of the court.
Well, I know that Nuno was concerned. Gary told me Nuno was concerned, but I think the Brooklyn or the Boston thing and him won out in the end. It was like that. Yeah. You're always gonna have the tough guy in the back of your head being like, "Get out there, you're gonna be fine." And so next thing I knew, man, Nuno was a no. I think until game time. It was game time, and all of a sudden there's Nuno in a uniform, and I'm like, dude, you made it. You're like, I knew it. I knew the tough guy in him would win out and be like, just get out there and play. And, end up, we really needed him, him and Gary. Yeah. Gary really was the MVP this year, man. He really, that was just so much fun, man. I all those guys are like, yeah, we were awful, but it was, I think, to a man, every one of those guys is like, dude, that was the most fun I've had on this thing. It was a blast. I mean, it was such fun. We're like, just turning into 13-year-old kids out there.
Exactly. That's what it's all about. And just keep this in mind. I mean, just in case you ever decide you want another profession, the Minnesota Twins just gave an Uber driver $9 million. So you never know, Joel. Wow. You never know.
So how did that happen? What's the story there?
He was driving Lyft and Uber when he was in the minor leagues, because when you're in the minors, you're not making shit. And he got called up to the big team, and of course.
Gotcha. I didn't really understand the story. So what's his name?
His name is Randy Dobnik.
Okay. So he just signed it. Yeah. He just signed a deal. Okay.
He just signed a deal. He brought him up last year. And of course the fans found out he was an Uber driver. So the opposing fans, 2 years ago when there was fans in the seats, were really laying into him, and he impressed them, and bam, he just signed a $9 million deal. So you never know, Joel.
Yeah. You never know. You never know. I mean, I'd like to think I am that Uber driver anyway, man. I mean, I think where I came from and my humble background in life, that all these things that I'm doing are kind of like, it's kind of like people laugh. Oh, you're gonna do that? Oh yeah, cool, or whatever. So I feel good about it all, man. Just being able to get to where I've gotten with it all. I think it's really cool, So I never lose the Uber driver mentality, though, man.
Yeah, well, trust me, I have it because I do drive Lyft, so I know that mentality. Scotty checking in from Canada. Scotty is a cruiser and says, evening guys, so psyched to have Joel back on the show. Love the new music, and damn, I wish I could have a Bloody Mary jam again.
Yes. Well, that's the other tradition, I think. The basketball thing was the new tradition. The old tradition was the Bloody Mary hangover jam on the Monsters of Rock cruise. For those that don't know the Monsters of Rock cruise, so that started the first year I was on there with Night Ranger, and we played, and then I went up on deck the next day, indeed hungover, and playing acoustic guitar. And they plugged me in because Karabi was renewing nuptials for couples up on deck. You remember that?
Yeah.
So I played some of that, and then Larry said the next year, he said, well, we want to have you on. And I said, well, I don't know, what am I going to do, dude? Night Ranger's not doing it. And he said, well, you do some of that acoustic stuff. Just come hang out and do some of that. I said, okay, that's like easy listening on like a heavy metal cruise. I said, how am I going to make this work? And I thought, free drinks. That's the key to anything, right? So I started there with just buying, and then it's really kind of grown into a little bit more of having some guys up and actually jamming, lots of guests, and a couple of them, Russell Allen came along and really sang half of the set, and but the main theme is indeed the not only the free Bloody Marys for everybody who attends, but as the fans say, the free shit, because I auction off stuff or give away stuff after every song, and so I just like to think I bribe everybody to say my set was the best on the boat, and musical content be damned, whatever, it doesn't matter. So anyway, I've had such a blast on the cruise, man. I love being a part of it, and I love that goofy little tradition, which is sometimes at 10:30 in the morning, has really turned into a thing. People get it now. The crowds are actually big at those. And it's like, wow, go up on deck. And I'm like, I remember when these were like, 20 people. And this is like, this is a thing now. People are turning up. They know free drinks, man.
Exactly. Well, it's like the Cruiser Jam. The Cruiser Jam has just turned into this huge thing, and it's fucking great. It's so cool. Oh, God. Has there been any talk about doing Joel Hoekstra's 13 on the boat? I mean, now you got 2 records worth of material.
Yeah, well, we did one on the boat. We did an electric show. Gosh, I'm not even gonna know the year, man. 2016, I want to say. I think the 2016 cruise, and we rehearsed once on the boat. So just flew everybody, rehearsed once on the boat, and played a set in the theater, and it went really well, man. I mean, I think it exceeded expectations because Jeff and Russell were both there singing, so. Had 2 singers, and I mean, it was a cool gig, man. Really cool. Having Vinny Appice in there as well as Russell Allen, you get the Dio Black Sabbath stuff in the set because of Vinny, and then you get the couple Whitesnake songs because of me, and so it made for having some stuff that people knew as well, and not just like here's a bunch of stuff you've never heard. So having that in there and letting everybody showcase their stuff. I mean, it was a very cool set.
Yeah, we're going to get into the record in a second here. First half of the show brought to you by Beater Amplification. That's 2 E's, beateramplification.com. Hand-wired, hand-built, 100 watts of testicular fortitude. Pull 2 tubes. Now you got yourself a 50 water. These things are badass. Joel, you've played through it. You know what they fucking sound like. And now, if you don't want to lug around a big goddamn beautiful head like that, they have rack mounts now too. So you can load your studio up with Beater hand-wired gear. Hit them up, beateramplification.com, 2 E's. Hit them up on Facebook as well and tell them you know me. And hey, maybe you can order the Izzy Presley TCB1 before I get one. That's right. That's my signature model. Joel, you could have my signature model before I do.
I'd be into that, man. I'd be into that. I'd check that out.
There you go. I love to hear that. And our good friends over at Mackie, you want to get into home recording, you want to get into podcasting. Oh, Mackie is not just for live gear anymore. No. This is a Mackie microphone. These are Mackie headphones. I'm running through the Big Knob Studio Plus. The Studio Bundle is a very affordable way for you as a beginner or as a pro to get into the podcasting home recording deal. We know everybody's doing it. Why the fuck do you think this show is called Another Effing Podcast? Because everybody's doing it. Might as well do it pro-like. Hit up Mackie, Mackie. So the album came out in February, correct?
Yeah, February 12th.
Was this a COVID project or was this planned?
No, it was already in the works, and the only thing I could say for COVID actually just kind of freed everybody up to be able to expedite it a little bit. I mean, it was taking a while. There was everybody's schedules, including my own. I mean, I was insane busy, so it was just kind of on the back burner, but being worked on, and then it was nice to have the opportunity to finish it up when COVID hit. So silver lining for me, just being able to finish it and get it out.
Well, I had heard David Coverdale talking about how it worked out perfect because he was planning a break anyways. So was that kind of what you were thinking about? Like, oh shit, I know we're gonna have this break, so that was a good time to.
Well, no, not at all, man. I mean, this year was supposed 2020 was supposed to be heavy. I mean, we were supposed to. We were on the road we had 8 months lined up, man, and 2 months, maybe it was six months of Whitesnake and 2 months with TSO. I mean, I had about 8 months of touring go in 2020, alone. So, things are fine, dude. I mean, I could go down the laundry list, everything I'm up to right now, but very, very busy and working hard, and everything's cool. Just I just like to say to people, it's like it's just hard to beat getting paid to travel the world and play for thousands of people, man. We're just spoiled, and being able to get out there and tour and do what we do. So it's I mean, their life is still good. It's just not that.
Right. Yeah. You're not doing your Cher runs in Vegas, being stuck in a hotel for 2 months or
lots of days off there on those, man. That was lots of days off. That's a good thing these days.
Yeah. Before, obviously, we're going to talk more about the record, but I mean, that was one thing I did want to ask you about. I mean, with everything that has happened, do you know if the Cher run is going to come back, or you think she's going to be done, or do you think she's going to go back out?
No, I mean, I have no idea, man. Really, as it stood in 2020, I wasn't going to be on board because we had so much of Whitesnake that I think I was available for like 20% of her shows or something. So it had already been a little nuts in 2019. I think I made half her shows, and it was a little like, it worked out great in 2017 through and 18 were great because David. He had knee surgery in 2017, so I was free, and it was like anything she had, I was doing. And then 2018, we ended up kind of tiptoeing back into the water, just doing a couple months of Foreigner. So it was like, all right, still, just can't make it for those couple months in TSO, but still can do a ton of stuff. And then 2019 was like, not. It was it was a blood sport, man. There was just to be able to get through that year. There was I think 285 days on the road that year for me out of the 365 between all those. There were some crazy moments. I mean, I remember finishing a Whitesnake in South America, and she was kind of letting me just join when I could, which was amazing of her and super nice. And but I remember going straight from the stage in Colombia to fly to Germany and switch tours, go from straight. And so in South America with Whitesnake, I remember that was as right on the heels of Cher. Then in Europe, I was doing that for like a couple weeks and then going straight to TSO rehearsals. So in my hotel room in South America on tour with Whitesnake, I was running the TSO set and the Cher set in the hotel room. And it was like, dude, this is no way to enjoy South America.
Yeah, right. Well, hey, look at the bright side. I don't care what anybody says about the Cher thing. For one year, you got to be the rock and roll thing on the Grammys. So there you go.
No. You mean the Billboard Music Awards?
Billboard?
I think the Billboard Music Awards. Yeah. That was just good timing, and that was right when I kind of went out there for like a quick fill-in. That's all that was supposed to be, and then it just kind of turned into more than that. I knew David was having the knee surgery, and I just put out text to people just being like, hey, if you know anybody who needs somebody to fill in, I don't really need a new gig.
Right.
Just need some, if anybody's got whatever, like, hey, we need some fill-in guitar player for a month, hit me up because I'm free, I'm looking. So my friend Justin Derrico, you probably know Justin, he plays a Pink and on The Voice, and he recommended me to Dave Barry, who is Cher's guitar player, who also plays on The Voice, so they play together. And so Dave was like, I need somebody to fill in, and Justin was like, oh, I just got this text from Joel, so it was like, it just turned out to be one of those crazy things. They got more and more busy over there because Justin got taken out by Pink on a promo tour. Dave was really tied up and doing more at the Voice, and so I ended up doing a lot more than I anticipated. Being there for a few years was kind of like, geez, I thought I was coming here for like a week, you know.
Right.
But that Billboard Music Awards, that was in that first fill-in, which was crazy. I was like, wow, so I'm going to fill in and I'm doing that? Well, that's crazy.
I can imagine that. Oh, I just got this text. Is he good? Let me tell you. Going to the chat room really quick. Got some new faces in the chat room. Lauren Bell, I hope to get on MRC someday. You absolutely should. I also look forward to the summer when I will have enough time for another guitar lesson. You do not have to make time for a guitar lesson. When you're sitting at home watching TV, pick up your guitar and just noodle while you're watching TV, and you're not even think about it, and you're practicing. It's that easy. I should heed my own words. Kathy Benzinger. It's awesome to hear from Joel. The new music is brilliant. Yes, it is. She goes, what's next for you, Kathy from Spokane? Kathy from Spokane, Washington.
What's happening, Kathy? How are you? Great to hear from you. Hey man, everything's groovy here, so I'm getting distracted. I got my kids are out of bed, so.
Okay, okay. We'll let you get to your kids in a few minutes here.
No, all good, man. They're just walking past me. I thought maybe we were going to have some guest appearances here for.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Nice. Anne-Marie Fassler says Running Games is hands down the best rock album to come out in years.
Nice. Thank you.
This is what I was going to say to you off the air, but I decided to hold it. To me,
you don't like it. Is that?
No, I love it. I fucking love it. To me, it's weird because so in the past 2 weeks, last week I had Todd LaTorre on, whose album is fucking killer. I don't know if you've heard it yet or not.
I haven't heard it, but I love Todd. He's amazing. I got a lot of respect for him, man. He's so talented.
If you like 80s metal, like Metal Church and shit like that, wow.
Cool.
Wow. I highly recommend it. I have it on cassette, actually.
Nice.
I bought it on cassette. And then, then Richie with his new album with Adrian Smith.
With Adrian, I heard some of that. Sounds great, man. It's like one single out so far. I clicked on like one video and saw it.
There's 3 videos out.
Great.
There's 3 videos out. It's killer. Yeah. And then yours, it's like in the past couple of weeks, like I've discovered all this fucking new music that I love. And what I was going to say is your album reminds me a lot of like
of Mackie Products.
Mackie Products. Let me tell you about Mackie Products. While you're keeping your feet on the ground and reaching for the stars, use Mackie Products. It reminded me of a great killer 80s soundtrack.
Oh, cool.
Movie soundtrack. I'm hearing those songs and like the video for the first single, it's that cartoon. Yeah. So I'm like, fuck, I feel like I'm watching the Transformers movie from 1985, which rules.
I think Derek Sherinian had said in one of his interviews, I think it was a quote saying it was like the best album from the 80s that never got released or something. That's what he called it.
It's got that 80s vibe, but it also has like the soundtrack feel to it. It's like these songs I could imagine hearing in 80s movies. As I'm listening to these songs, I'm picturing a video with like montages from the movies and then you playing at the same time. We could make this happen. We could make fake movies and put montages into the videos. This could be really cool, Joel. I just have to win the lottery first.
Awesome, man. Well, I just kind of write these around the personnel. You got Vinny Appice and Russell Allen. So it's like, all right, so the Dio thing is going to sound really good, that vibe. And that works out great for me. That's a whole lot of like what made me want to start as a kid. And that's what a lot of these albums are about, man. It's taking me back to like just being like a hard rock listener. Like what got me into this whole thing, playing guitar and making music. And so I'm just trying to come from that standpoint about like the songs. Back when you would get like, when you got the new Iron Maiden album, it wasn't about like, what lick Dave Murray was playing in the soul or whatever. It was about the song. You cared about the song. So trying to get the, people to care about the songs first with these, have it be good songs and not so much about like, what arpeggio I'm playing over, this solo section. And that, I try to avoid that type of thinking, that progressive minded and, trying to prove what everything I can do on guitar. It's more about just like, dude, let's just make like a good hard rock album,
Yeah. I always say less Yngwie, more Dick.
I say the sound is Dio-ish at its heaviest and Foreigner-ish at its lightest. I mean, there's definitely some stuff that's not like straight up as heavy as the Dio thing. There's definitely some more like melodic moments in there, and even with me, toning it down in terms of the diversity, I think it's still fairly diverse, man. But it has a sound. I think now with 2 albums out, people are starting to get the concept of what I'm doing with these albums, and especially with it being the same lineup and everything. And I think people are realizing like, oh, okay, because I have instrumental albums out from years ago, right? And so it's like, you want to go listen to my old fusion stuff? Go, check it out. I totally encourage everybody, but only about 5 or 6 of them have so far. Because everybody in the hard rock scene, that's really a whole lot of the purpose of me making these albums as well. Not just that I actually enjoy making them, but I think the fact that, I was joining these bands and having people be like, yeah, I checked out your solo album. You ever think of doing a rock album? So anyway, I mean, I don't know if you probably haven't heard any of my old fusion stuff either, but it's completely different than anything people would expect from me being in Whitesnake these days. So I'm trying to give people some stuff that like, yeah, here you go. Here's something that would fit the bill for being a fan of the bands that I'm in right now.
Joel, I'm going to let you in on a little secret about me. I can't count past Peter Criss. So we'll just leave it at that. Anne Marie has a question. She wants to know if Soto wrote the harmonies for the album, or did you provide him a separate guide vocal? I did want to ask you about the writing. Did you? How much of the writing is you, and how much of the writing is the rest of the guys?
So the writing is all me. Like I write the guitar riffs, and those are down to a click, and then usually with me playing the melody, and that's it on guitar, and that's what Vinny and Tony track to, and then I write the lyrics to everything. I'll usually have a chorus in mind when I've written those melodies, but I'll write the lyrics, and then I sang a guide vocal for Russell for the whole album, and he just sings it like 100 times better than me, when he goes to record it. And then in regards to how everybody does their stuff, everybody just does what they do. And I say very little to any of them because, I want everybody to have fun doing it too. I don't want everybody to go like, geez, that guy was a total pain in the butt, man, get done with it. So, I like it to be a good experience for those guys, have them want to work with me too, So, when it comes to all those guys, what you hear is what they played and what their instincts were, and I just kind of roll with it, even if it's not what I was necessarily hearing in my head. Right. So, Russell tweaks some of the stuff, and he'll change it up a little bit to suit his voice a little bit more or whatever, and that's totally fine. It's not Mozart, it's rock. So that's pretty much the way everybody rolls. Everybody just does what they do, and I stay out of their way, and I think that's the way you can get the best takes out of people, man. Is just leave them alone. Just let good players just do their thing, man. Exactly. I mean, if I'm in there telling Vinny Appice how to play drums, something's wrong with that, right? So it's like the guy's, he's a legendary drummer, man. Just stay out of his way, let him do his thing, man.
Yes, and plus you don't want to make Jeff Scott Soto's man bun flare, just let Soto.
That is a very dangerous man bun. That thing is, there's you gotta be at least 10 feet away from that when you're around anything flammable, because that thing goes, man. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. He was on a couple months ago, and he had his hair down. Then all of a sudden, like within a split second, he had that thing up, and it was perfect. I'm like, how?
Perfectly manicured man.
Yes, absolutely. And then why? Yeah. But then how? Dude, working with Appice, I mean, you've got to get great stories out of him.
Yeah, I mean, Vinny and I know each other easily the least out of everybody involved with this. I mean, we when we did the gig on the cruise, we hadn't even met in person yet
Oh,
because
wow.
the way this came together was Tony Franklin because he recommended Vinny. Tony and I had just finished doing this project called VHF, which I think maybe 3 or 4 people have listened to, and I told him my idea about doing these, and I said, I'd like to do something that sounds like a band, but where I do all the writing and just kind of so have it be a project. We'll give it a project name, and he recommended Vinny, and so that sounded like a great rhythm section. And I thought that was a perfect idea too, just because I wanted already in my mind. I was like, I just want to take this back to like the early days, make this sound like 1982, like what made me start playing. Take it back to good songs. And I put in a cassette as an 11-year-old. I just wanted great rock songs. I wasn't too worried about what guitar player played the fastest or any of that stuff. So anyway, that's the way it came together there. And then I was like, I need a vocalist, and Russell was joining TSO right at that time. And I heard Russ sing, and I was like, wow, this guy's amazing. The more I heard of him, just the fact that he could sing Dio, but he could sing Foreigner, he could sing Bad Company, Zeppelin. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy, he can do it all. And so, of course, Jeff Scott Soto and I, we know each other really well. We've been friends for a long time. And Derek Sherinian and I have actually known each other for a bit as well, though we hadn't worked together prior to the first record. So, Derek, this one I carved out a little more room for him. I think that first one, I wasn't sure I was going to have keyboards on it. I was kind of picturing more like that Dio thing where there's like a couple little, maybe a song or two, or but it was like, no, it'd be cool to have keyboards on all this stuff, man. I just, in the end. So the first album, there wasn't a lot of room for him. This one, I was like, I'm going to take advantage of having him on. And Derek was, really, really happy that I gave solo spots. He's like, there's a lot of solos on this one. I was like, yeah, dude, want to show you off, man, So we there was a couple times on there, we do some trades and stuff. Yeah. And try to get a little bit of that the Yngwie vibe, I guess, where the keyboardist and the guitarist start going back and forth a little.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like you can always tell when a keyboard player is itching for attention because that keyboard starts moving farther and farther up the stage towards the front. What the fuck was it? I had a question. Now I forgot it. Oh, well, we'll go to Kathy's question here. Oh, I know what I was going to talk about. Is there a physical product? I looked on your website and all I saw was streaming and buy it online.
Yeah, I saw some people talking about the US store, but that's really a Frontiers thing. I don't even know, man. I mean, they did hook me up with a very, very like small number of copies, and that was my, deal with them or whatever. But in regards to what's out there physically, I don't even know. So that's really a Frontiers question.
Okay, hold on. I'm actually going to their website right now for you because I care. I don't know. I don't want to watch an official trailer with what looks like Britney.
I heard somebody saying that, hey, I don't see it. I was like, okay, we'll just go to Amazon, man. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Okay, Hoekstra.
I know there's physical product. I know it exists physically.
Search results for running games. Here we go. Album. Track list, lineup, related albums. I do not see order anywhere on here. I'm sure there is. I just, God forbid I actually do research before I do these things.
Well, you've done more than a lot, my friend. So I think you're fine. And plus, you and I know each other. I think you have pretty much free reign when you're having me on to admit that, like, dude, I didn't listen to your album. That would not offend me at all. I would take that and be just fine with that, man. I think we know each other well enough. You and I. So all good, brother.
I got hell from Beeler a few weeks back because I told him, dude, I listened to the record days. Like, you just listened to it today? You didn't even listen to it? And he was just busting my balls. But you know how Beeler is. Beeler was being Beeler, and it was hilarious, and I looked like a deer in headlights. Here's a good question. Yeah, Kathy wanted to know if you're working on any new projects right now. Is there anything else that you're working on since you still have some time off?
I mean, I got in the riffs to Michael Sweet for our project with Nathan James. I'm not sure of the release date on that, but I think fairly soon that's coming over for me to actually like do guitars, and so that's very collaborative. That's I put in guitar riffs for it. As far as the songs themselves, I'm kind of not in the know at the moment. But
Gotcha.
I think it's just, people can expect a rock album. Ooh, breaking news.
Yeah, actually,
It's not disco, it's not reggae, it's not country. I'll let everybody in on a little secret. It's rock. Yeah, that's all I have for you. I mean, so that's something to look forward to. And I've been doing some co-writes with my friend Jim Peterick. He's producing an album for Frontiers and a little bit of that. And outside of that, man, just doing a lot of guest solos on people's stuff, sessions, and cameos are kind of a regular thing at this stage of the game. Tons of guitar lessons. I mean, I'm teaching. That's really been my main gig during COVID, man. I've been teaching like 30 students a week. So
nice.
By the time I get done with the online teaching and the cameos and the sessions and the writing with people and getting the album out and doing press for the album, and it's I've been very, very busy, man. It's definitely been a period of very hard work, honestly.
Oh, I'm glad you're doing the cameo thing. I was going to do it, but I figured I would have to pay people to get me to do a cameo for them. No, it's great that you're able to do it, man. That's awesome. Before we go, I got to know. I mean, Coverdale seems like a ribber, like a guy that'll pull jokes. It's a wrestling term, a ribber. Do you have any good Coverdale ribbing stories?
Man, he's just lots of laughs. I think. One of the coolest things he did for me was kind of busted on Cher's music director, Ollie Marland. He's been with her a while now, but Paul Merkovich, I think, who was in Whitesnake for a bit as a keyboard player, was Cher's music director before him. And so, of course, when we would discuss, I would say, well, Paul was in Whitesnake. It just kind of became a running joke when we would talk about Cher's camp or whatever. So there was a correlation there. So at one of the gigs, somehow, we were backstage and there was pictures of a lot of famous musicians. And I took a picture of her music director's face and I put him on one of I think it was Sting, and put him on Sting or something. And we took a little video on my phone walking around backstage, and I said, oh, look, David, here's Chuck Berry, and look, David, here's the Who. And then I said, oh, look, it's Oliver Marland. And I said, he said, who's that? And I said, well, that's Cher's music director. I said, but he's no Paul Merkovich or something like that. And David said, no, he's not. Absolutely not, or whatever. So it was a strange, it's a hard joke to explain. But to be able to text that to Ollie then and have him, that was just it was good of David. It was a good inside joke for him to participate in. So he's lots of fun, man. David's he's all about the laughs and, great dude, man. I've, love working with him. So.
What were your expectations before you met him? Had you met him prior to being in the band?
Only briefly. Night Ranger opened for Whitesnake once, and I met him backstage for 10 seconds or something. Hi, nice to meet you, kind of thing. And so, I didn't know what to expect, man. I just, I looked at it like a great opportunity, I think, for lots of reasons. The Whitesnake catalog, the people that have been through the band on guitar, so the cachet that comes along with that, I suppose, and probably a little more, international touring than was happening for me at the time with Rock of Ages or TSO or Night Ranger. That was a lot of US, so the ability to get out around the world a bit. And so, I mean, for me, that was all stuff I was kind of just looking at going, this is going to be awesome, man. We'll just figure it out. But it's, I've been very, I don't want to say surprised because I didn't have bad expectations with David, I mean, that's the thing is people are like, well, there's a lot of turnover. It's like, well, no, Doug was there 12, 13, 14 years. I don't want to undershoot Doug. So, I mean, it's like, Doug was there a very long time. Rev's been there an eternity. So and we've had the same lineup now since I joined the band. So we've had the same lineup for 6-7 years now. So, for as much as people say that, it's like, is that really true? It might have been back in the day, but as far as what's happening in the lineup right now, we're very consistent.
Well, and plus you get to play with the Machine. He's more machine now than man.
Tommy?
I don't think, Tommy Aldridge, because I don't think he ages.
Going with Tommy, TA's a legend too, man. I think it's a lot of fun to be playing guitar with a guy who's played with Gary Moore and Randy Rhoads, and I mean, John Sykes and it's you name it, man. He's played with all the Steve Vai, whatever,
Yep.
So impressive.
And plus, you get to play with Red Beach too. That doesn't suck.
Oh yeah, man. Working with Reb is amazing, man. He's a killer player. I mean, just a great lead player and great rhythm player as well, which is something that's it's really important, man. On those great riffs to be really tight together, and so love rocking with him. He's a great background singer as well. A lot of people don't realize that about Reb. He's got a really good voice, and so. He's, and is a very funny guy. I mean, that's the lineup itself is some of the funniest people I've ever been around. I mean, Michael Devin is really, really a funny dude when you get him going. He's kind of, I don't know how well you know Michael, man. He's kind of quiet when people first meet him, but he's, dude, his imitations and stuff are just, it's beyond. It's so funny, man. So a lot of laughs with those guys on the bus, man, for sure.
Before you go, this is just a couple things. What is the writing process like with Whitesnake? As obviously you not like you, where it's like you're writing everything. Does David come in with ideas, or does David come in with full songs?
I would say, well, it was a little bit of both on the Flesh and Blood thing, Some of the stuff, there was a couple songs where I wrote like all the guitar riffs or whatever, and same with Reb. But I think in general, the comfort zone was David having an idea, being like, hey, I got this idea, and he'd have a chorus or something, and where would you take it? And that was where I found my comfort zone and getting co-writes with him, I guess, or collaborating on a song and being like, okay, cool, let's do it, man, and that's how we found our groove, man. And
before we go, the next Joel Hoekstra's 13 record, whenever that does happen, are we gonna hear you beller and open up those vocal cords and finally sing lead?
Well, I do that on the Bloody Mary jam.
Well, I know, but I mean, it's your record. You should sing a song, damn it.
No, I want to when I make these albums, I want them to be great. I think if I'm singing there, it's going to be like pretty good, be like, yeah, heard your record, man. Pretty good, so I think in general, I'm totally comfortable with it being about me being able to write the songs and be the person who gets to say so on the mix and the production end of things. And, so that's totally cool. I love Russell's voice is amazing. So, no, I mean, I think, I could make it more about myself, but at the end of the day, for me, it is about myself because I'm able to write the songs and finally be that guy who's like, hey, these are actually about me. Like, the lyrics and about my life. And, so that goes a long way for me. I'd rather just try to create like a great album for people.
We'll save it for the next Cruiser Jam. We'll pick a song for you to sing.
I'll do it
at the Cruiser Jam. But I want to do One Way to Rock again. That was so fucking fun. I'm not gonna lie, Joel. That was one of the highlights of my life.
Yeah, it was fun, man.
That was fucking great.
That was really
people want to find you. Websites joelhoekstra.com. All your socials.
Yeah, they could just go to my .com and then they could click over to all that fancy stuff from there.
There you go. And if they want to get lessons from you, all that's on the website as well.
You just hit contact and that's my email.
There you go. Joel Hoekstra. Really quick, Scotty from Canada says, I'm a huge Whitesnake fan. On 2015, you gave me my first Whitesnake guitar pick and I cherish it so much. Thank you again. And Tom Pate. Now don't go anywhere, people, because right after I get off the blower here with Joel, I'm going to put a couple commercials on. And then right after those commercials, there'll be a pre-recorded interview that you haven't heard yet because I did it this afternoon with Richie fucking Kotzen. And Joel, thank you again so much, man. I really appreciate it.
Dude, thank you, man.
Keep in touch, man. Please keep in touch because, I fucking love talking to you. So
great to hang, dude. Great to see you again.
Thank you so much. All right, let's get to these mid-commercial breaks, and we'll be right back with Richie Kotzen.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a long time since we've rock and rolled, but that all changes this August as Rockin' Pod returns to Nashville. This annual convention brings together rock artists, fans, and podcasters for an unforgettable rock experience. Special guests this year include Billy Sheehan, Ron Keel, Don Jameson of That Metal Show, and current and former members of Winger, LA Guns, Accept, and more. Stage panels, signing sessions, and photo ops will be available, plus lots of vinyl and memorabilia vendors. Music podcasters from all over North America will be appearing on site for live interviews, speaking sessions, networking, and more. Got a music podcast? Register and join us. Rockin' Pod Weekend kicks off with a pre-party featuring former Tesla guitarist Tommy Skio and his new band Resist and Bite, making their debut performance, as well as a rare hair set featuring surprise guests performing all-time classics. Rockin' Pod Weekend takes place August 6th through the 8th in Nashville, Tennessee. Tickets, VIP passes, podcast registration, and discounted hotel rooms are available now at rockinpod.com. Rockin' Pod is brought to you by DBG Productions, Bradley Entertainment, and Inceptia.
Vinny Tortorich here. Hey man, if you're a fan of Izzy, you might be a fan of me too. I'm the guy that gets people to lose a lot of weight. I have something free for you guys. This is no clickbait. Just go to VinnyTortorich.com and there's a big banner. It's a free PDF, how to lose weight. It's an intro guide to NSNG at VinnyTortorich.com. Go check it out exclusively for anyone who listens to Izzy Presley. Thank you.
RockstarLeatherworks.com is your home for badass rock and roll gear. Featuring 100% handmade leather bands, watches, cuffs, bracelets, and more, Rockstar Leatherworks has something for everybody. Whether you are going to the show or you are in it, you can find something to fit your needs. Choose from a variety of designs or create your own masterpiece. Their bands and watches are second to none. They also ship internationally. Who needs a stage to be a rock star? Check out RockstarLeatherworks.com.
Hey ladies, Sass Pants Designs will take that band shirt that everyone has and make it your own in a flattering, sassy, and simple way. There are one-of-a-kind tank tops, halter tops, lace-up tees, and tube-top dresses already in stock. Check out the online store at sasspantsrocks.com and like Sass Pants Designs on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for special offers and custom orders. Use the code IZZY25 for 25% off of your entire order at sasspantsrocks.com. That's sasspantsrocks.com. Let Sass Pants make you the envy of the party.
Rockwood Saloon Authentic Apparel takes rock and roll fashion to a new level with their tees and tanks for men and women. They also make custom shirts, jackets, vests, pants, hoodies, beanies, and more. The Rockwood Graphics Department can design anything from your logo, t-shirt design, promo posters, band swag, and printed at great prices. From tour shirts and custom stage gear to killer threads for the street to the stage, Rockwood Saloon has it all. Rockwood Saloon, authentic rock and roll apparel for stage and street. World tour tested for quality, comfort, style, and durability. Check them out at www.rockwoodsaloon.com. That's rockwoodsaloon.com.
A reading from the book of Paul, verse Crazy Nights, chapter Bang Bang You. I'm gonna bang you. I'll shoot you down with my love gun, baby. Praise be to Paul.
Oh, God bless Kiss lyrics. Shout out to Mike Dawson from the Adam Carolla Show for voicing those for me. We are back. Second half of the show brought to you by AP Laser. That's aplasers.com. Yes, Mother's Day is coming up and Father's Day is coming up. There's hockey tournaments going on. You want to get something special for that loved one, head up aplasers.com. And I think Oz is pretty much on the mend from his stroke, so he's ready to work. So hit him up, aplasers.com, and our good friend John Palumbo. John Palumbo Design. You have a band, you have a business, you need a website, you need a logo. Hit up our good friend John Palumbo, johnpalumbodesign.com. Welcoming back to the show for the first time as Metal Edge Magazines presents another effing podcast, my good friend, Mr. Richie Kotzen.
That's right.
How you doing, bud? It's been a while. I don't think, have I seen you since I got off that shuttle to the airport?
No, I'm trying to find a position. Can you see me okay?
Yeah,
okay.
I can see you great. Yeah. Just it's a little glare, but it's not washing you out, so you're fine.
Oh, okay, good. That's what we want. Yeah, it's funny. I haven't done a gig in over a year, like everybody else, I guess, right?
Yeah. How have you been handling being stuck in the Hotel California?
I love it.
Really?
No, I mean, I gotta say, I had 4 continents booked to go out and support that 50 for 50 record. We had Europe, North America, Japan, and then we were doing something in South America, and then everything got yanked. And it's an interesting thing when they offer you shows as an artist. You just say, yeah. Someone says, "Oh, I got 4 shows in Brazil. Do you want them? Yeah, give them to me. I got 2 weeks in the States. I'll take them." But once everything came down, and I was really like, okay, you're not supposed to go outside. You're not supposed to see nobody, and just me and my wife. I really realized that I needed a break.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I really needed to get off the road for a while. And so now I'm getting to that point where I'm starting to get the itch a little bit, like, okay, it's been over a year since I did a show. Can I even do a show? I mean, do I still have can I get through an entire show? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, right.
And that's interesting. I think before I would book a tour, I'd book like a one-off show somewhere, just to see, can you play for even an hour without getting winded? Because one thing I noticed after having this little bout with COVID, I get tired easier than I used to. I go outside and I work in the yard, and I'm, doing some landscape things, which I like to do to occupy my mind, and I get winded, so who knows what's going to happen.
So wait, you actually had it?
Well, here's the thing. Julia had it and got tested for it and was positive. And so then I went out and I got tested and I was negative.
Mm-hmm.
However, within days of getting tested negative, bam, I got real sick with all the same symptoms that she had. So I can only assume, I can't really see so well. I'm going to put these on. I can only assume that I had COVID. I know I did, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even though I tested negative, I got the same symptoms as she did right after she tested positive. Does that make sense what I'm saying, or I sound crazy?
No, it sounds absolutely right. What was the time frame that this happened?
Just before Christmas. Now she was over it by then, and I was deep in it on Christmas. I remember she made something, and I came up to eat, and then I had to go back down. I was isolated at that point in a different room.
Yeah.
We didn't know what the fuck to do.
Right. Well, it's funny. You say it right before Christmas, and this whole year has been such a blur that I think it's the Christmas right before we went on the cruise and right before the dance,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird, man. It's so weird how it affects people differently. I mean, Christ, we had Mega Cruise, then we had NAM, and like right after I saw you at NAM, I think I ate a Starburst off the floor at NAM. Then we had the cruise, and nothing. I had nothing. It's so weird. It's so
well, Julia got sick before NAM. That week before NAM, she was so sick that I took her to the emergency room because she had her fever was high, and I thought, well, this could turn into something real serious. I was Googling, and I thought maybe she had influenza.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't know about COVID then, you see.
Right.
So I think that she might have had COVID then and then got it a second time.
Wow. That's
what I think.
That's weird, man. And look,
you got in the medical business, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, right. Well, I guess everybody is with their computers, right?
Everybody thinks they are. That's what makes you fucking crazy. That drives me nuts. It's like, what is it? It's, do I do this or do I do fucking this? So now what I do, I just stay home, and if I leave, I put a mask on.
Mm-hmm.
And I just do what most people tell you to do.
Right. Well, look, Richie, you got really lucky too, because when last time I saw you, when I was getting off that shuttle from the cruise, you were going to the Caribbean to meet Adrian.
That's
right. And you got back, like, you must have got back like right before they shut down the borders.
Yeah. You know what's really weird is Adrian has a couple numbers, and he has a phone for when he's in the States.
Yeah.
And so he just flew in a while ago, a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to check and see if the flight was okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I pull up the American number and I went to text him, and I could see the last text that I sent him was March 14th. And the conversation was talking about, wow, I have plans to go to this specific place, and I'm thinking maybe I should go back to England because they're shutting everything down.
Yeah.
And that was our conversation. And it was a year to the day. I swear to God, the weirdest, creepiest, weird coincidence. I picked up the phone on the 13th of March to check in with him. And it was the 14th of March a year ago. That was the last time we texted on that number. Isn't that weird?
Wow, dude. That is pretty freaky.
Yeah.
That really is. And we're going to get into the record in a little bit, which it's really fucking good. Smith Kotzen. And you can get it anywhere that you want to buy fucking anything, anywhere, I guess. That's what the internet is for, right? Got a lot of shit's happened since we talked, though. I mean, we lost Eddie Van Halen. Did you know Eddie? Did you ever meet him? Did you ever have any encounters with him?
Yeah. So the first time I met him, I was signed to Interscope Records, and I went to the premiere. Edgar Winter and I went to the premiere together for Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Because at the time, Edgar and I were writing together for my solo album that I never made. And we performed together at the party. And Eddie was at that party, and we had our photograph taken together. It's the only picture I have with Eddie. And I posted that photograph when Eddie passed away. Then I joined Poison, and they hired Zeke Clark to be my tech. And so Zeke and I would go out, and one night we went somewhere, and I was in a room with Zeke and Eddie and Valerie and Emilio Estevez.
Nice.
And then shortly thereafter, I went to a Van Halen concert, and my seat was in the little guitar booth where Eddie would come in and out of, all his stuff was in there.
Yeah.
Right? And so at one point he came in while there was something happening. I don't know if it was a drum solo or something. So he came in, and it was just me, him, and Zeke. And he looked at me and said, "Hey, how's it sound?" You're asking me.
Yeah, kidding? Right.
And then another time he was at a buddy of mine's house, and we were talking. So we'd run into each other, and he was always nice, and yeah. So it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable to me to think about, Prince, Eddie, David Bowie, so many people that were influential, to me. Tom Petty, not being on the planet. It's just fucking weird. It's just hard to really, I was a basket case when Prince died. It was like you couldn't say his name without me flipping the fuck out. And similarly with Eddie, it's just he's I don't want to talk too much about it because next thing you know I'll be breaking down on your fucking show here. But it's just it's just terrible. It's just horrible.
Yeah, it really is, and it's like we have to come to that realization where we're getting to that age where this is going to be happening a lot more.
Yeah.
Than we want to believe. It's like I'm going to be a wreck when the first member of Kiss dies.
So what about the Lakers? Where are they now? Are they I think Utah was #1 in the Western Conference. I know my Sixers are at the top of the Eastern Conference.
Now, see, Richie, I'm a man. I like hockey. But it's funny you bring up basketball because, Joel, we're recording this earlier, but after, when this plays on the show, Joel Hoekstra, who organizes the basketball on the Monsters of Rock cruise, which you play in.
Barely.
I was just kind of, do you get, because I mean, you think about it,
I scored in that last game, actually. I think I might have had a 3-pointer. I was at the top of the.
Yeah. Well, it kind of hit me. It's like you think of the Lloyds of London insurance on the fingers on that basketball court.
Yeah. I did something to my finger like 4 months ago, and this finger, which is a very important one. And I don't know what I did, but if I play a bar chord or something on the guitar, it's a weird pain. And just now, it's starting to go away.
Yeah.
I did something. I don't know what I did, fractured it or sprained it. And I don't remember what it was, but it's like, I hope it's not arthritis, but
yeah, right.
Something weird with the fucking finger, but it's starting to get better. So,
I mean, we should talk about the record, which is why you're here, obviously. It's
Yeah.
either that or you missed me, other than my drunken delusions of grandeur emails that I'll send you at 2:00 in the morning.
Right.
Which I am sorry about. I just get drunk, go, I should email Richie, and I'm sorry. But so how did your relationship with Adrian start? Because I heard you kind of tell the story on Trunk, and it sounded like your wives were setting up a play date with the boys.
Yeah, it kind of is. I mean, we would go over there and, he's got this room in the house that used to be a screening room or something. It's, got all the padding up, but he uses that as a studio.
Mm-hmm.
And so they'd have these holiday get-togethers, and we'd always end up in there playing music. And so one thing led to another, and then Natalie said, you guys try and write something. And it was really just like that, easy or whatever suggestion. And then I think the first thing that we wrote is that song Running.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we did Scars. I'm like, okay, I think we're onto something here,
Well, I mean, you being the quintessential, I do it myself guy, how was it? Was it a weird thing to start working with somebody when you're used to being in like complete control of everything?
Are you wearing that Phillies jersey for my benefit?
Of course.
Yeah, that's very nice of you. Thank you.
I care.
Yeah. So, it was actually pretty cool for me to be in a position where I could kind of lay back in the cut, as they say. I really enjoyed it, and both with the vocal and the guitar, and I think we meshed well together. It's funny, when I was approving the mixes and they were sending them to Adrian and I, and things were sounding so good and just really exciting. But there were times where I was forgetting who I was listening to, like a vocal here or a harmony there or a guitar lick. And I'm like, well, I don't remember playing that. Oh, wait a minute, that's Adrian. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah. So, but that's a good thing, because it means that we're gelling together nicely.
Yeah. So I mean, is this the start of something, or is this just going to be, hey, right, like how like super groups always happen? It's like they put a record and then boom, that's it. Then it's gone. Then they're gone forever. Do you think this is something you can move forward with?
I think we could do another record, if that's what you're asking. I think it was so easy to do, and it was almost like, we did it, and then we were thinking about, all right, now it's done. How are we going to release it? When are we going to release it? And so we picked March of 2021, not knowing anything about COVID, by the way. And then we thought April we can do the tour. And not that we're going to tour for a year, go out and do some dates here and there and show ourselves. And the reason why was because, I had all these dates booked for 50 for 50. Maiden had stuff booked. And then, sadly, the pandemic came and ruined all that. But we luckily kept the release date, which is good.
Yeah.
So I would imagine, when we can get together, we would probably do some more writing and stockpile some ideas and some music. And then when there's a situation where, we have a break like that, where Maiden's, in between album cycles and I'm not doing anything else, then we can put out a second record. I think that would be really cool.
How is the writing for this different than, like, say, writing for the Winery Dogs? Because I think you made it sound like with the Dogs, there's a lot of stuff that you already have that you bring to them.
The Dogs is a little more. There were two different things that happened with the Winery Dogs. On the very first record, we had a bulk of material that came out of us jamming in a room. And then I would take that and deal with the lyric writing and the melody writing for the most part. Now, on that record, there's a song that Mike wrote lyrics to that I sang. But for the most part, we would jam. I would take the instrumental bits that were already, we'd arrange them together, and then I would write words to it and melodies, and then there you go. But also in that first record, there was an element of some songs that were already written that I had, ready to go, that they liked and we decided to do. Like Damaged is an example of that song. And there's, I think Elevate and I'm No Angel existed prior to us knowing that we were going to work together. Right. On the second Winery Dog record, there wasn't any of that kind of shenanigans where I had other stuff that I brought in. We literally got in a room and we just did that one thing where we threw ideas around, organized the instrumental bits, and then I wrote lyrics and melodies against the music that we created together. Right. That's how the second record was. Now, the Smith Kotzen thing was much different. It was much more like a typical songwriter collaboration where, you know, a guy sits at the piano with a pencil, another guy sits with a guitar and a pencil, and you're throwing stuff around. And what about this chord change for the chorus? I have a lyric idea. So I think with Smith Kotzen, it was every aspect of it was literally, you know, written together. Like we'd sit there and talk about stories and ideas for lyrics and how to, you know, what do we want to talk about here? You know, that kind of stuff. More like a tradition, what you would expect when two people get together and write a song.
Right. Were you, I mean, what were your expectations as far as the way, you know, obviously, you know, Adrian's in Maiden, you know, so there's that Maiden sound, there's that Maiden, that, you know, that fucking horse run. It's true. You know the Maiden fucking shuffle. That's why I call it the Maiden shuffle. Did you expect him to be as bluesy and soulful as a player?
Yeah, and so here's the thing. We had jammed together, you know, multiple times over the course of years. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, at least 3 or 4 times I was in that house, in that room, you know, in different periods of, you know, time jamming, you know, pretty much the same cover songs. You know, we do a Rod Stewart song, we do a Bad Company song, we do a ZZ Top song, and he would sing a lot of it. So I knew right away, okay, well, we're into the same stuff.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, there was no mystery surrounding how it was going to go, or are we going to vibe this or that. You know, I just figured, oh, we'll probably get along. You know, we both like Paul Rogers. We you know, we both like this guy or that guy. So, you know, it was pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the record's really good. And I was waiting until my vinyl showed up because I wanted to have that experience of, you know, listening to it the first time, you know, holding the vinyl and listening to it and all that. But apparently my vinyl is on vacation in Georgia somewhere with FedEx. It's like enjoying it out there. So it hasn't showed up.
Yeah. Oh.
So we put it on the iTunes the other night, all hammered and watching. Because my good friend Mike Dawson from the Corolla show, I've turned him on to you, and we're sitting there because they did the show called Jam in the Van.
Oh,
here in Hollywood. So
what's that? What is that?
It's this weird. It's like a little pop up outdoor thing, and they do live shows every week now until you can officially open up and.
You know, it's so funny. My friend, years ago, my friend Arlen, who played on a bunch of my records, an organ player, Arlen Shirebaum, played on a bunch of my albums. And he used to go down to the NAMM show, and he had a milk truck or some kind of delivery truck. And then one year it was a bus, like a school bus. And he had it outfitted like a venue. And he'd pull that thing up at NAMM and just park it and just start playing.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, pretty cool.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's a cool thing. I mean, so it was like Corolla headlined doing stand-up, Adam Ray did stand-up, and Dawson did stand-up in front of them. So we went back to Dawson's place afterwards and, you know, popped a couple celebration beers and listened to the record, and fucking is just like, wow, this is really, really fucking good, man. It's really good.
Thanks.
So this was pretty much, was this pretty much all done and recorded before COVID happened?
Yeah. This was not a COVID record. We had everything done, and then we were trying to figure out, you know, about mixing it, and then coincidentally, Kevin, who's, you know, obviously close with Adrian, reached out and said, "Hey, I got time, so if you want, I could probably, you know, mix this for you." And so, all right, well, that sounds good to us, you know. So we sent the files over there, and then he started feeding them back to us. So, so that happened. If my memory's correct, that happened during the whole COVID. But I mean, that's fine. The actual recording and the creation happened before anybody knew about COVID.
Who else played on the record? Did you play drums and bass on it, or did you have other guys do it?
I played drums on 5 songs, I believe. Nico played on 1 song, and then my friend Tal, 5, 6, 7, played on the other 3.
Okay.
Yeah, Tal Bergman, who played
yeah
with me on the boat. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I played bass on, I think, 6 songs, and Adrian played on 3.
Speaking of Tal, great guy, great player. You had him with you on the boat last time. Is he the new guy in the solo band now? Is Mike done?
Yeah, that's right.
Did Mike just have other stuff going on, or was it just time for a change, or what happened there?
Well, I mean, I haven't spoken to Mike all year, so I think he just wanted to do some other stuff. I mean, I don't know. It just kind of fizzled out. Sometimes relationships just fizzle out.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. So basically, he was going to go do the Monsters of Rock cruise. I had all the flights and everything ready to go. And then at the last, well, it wasn't the last, but like a month before, it wasn't a very pleasant conversation. Like a month before, something came up for him that he needed to do that prevented him from, and I've worked with the guy for 8 years, and he's always been professional. So
yeah,
I understood that this was a rare incident.
Yeah.
But simultaneously, I knew that he was getting a little beat up from the road and the scheduling, and I think that he needed some time off and just to get away from it, And so Tal and I've known Tal since I was 26 years old.
Oh wow!
Got together in 1996, and then played on and off. And then when I had the opportunity to open for the Rolling Stones, I chose him to be the drummer to go over there to Japan with me. So when this happened, initially I'm in a panic, because I lose flight money. I gotta go back and rehearse, and so initially I'm aggravated and pissed off.
Right.
Then I sat there and said, all right, well, it is what it is. He's not going to go do this gig. You got to get someone. So then I thought I had Tal came to mind. So let me see. No problem, come do.
yeah.
His accent. And so he learned the material, and he and I have a different kind of connection too. It's interesting. We're closer in age, and we have a certain thing. There's a certain fire that happens when he and I get going in some of these solo sections. I remembered it when we played. I remember us how we used to be, and so that kind of excited me. So maybe it was the best for both me and for him to make a change. And who knows what time goes on, we might work together again on something. You never know. So there's no hard feelings or anything, nothing like that. But I think when you're working on something, you're working with someone for that long, sometimes, it's nice to take a break from someone before you want to strangle them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean? No, I get it.
And being in a band is a very delicate relationship, and sometimes you just need a break. Prince used to change. Think about Prince, how often he would swap out members, and I think it's good for the artist sometimes, to swap guys out. It gives you a different perspective musically, creatively. It's not a negative thing. We have some great things. We've done some great shows that Mike and I did together that I think we both hold dear to our hearts, and they're out there for people to enjoy and watch. So, I'm sure he wishes me the best. I wish him nothing but the best. I always respected his talents. So,
I was just curious because, I mean, Mike lives down the block from me. And you know, I've seen him a couple times at the grocery store since this whole COVID thing happened. But it's it's not like I text him, well, hey man, what's up with the Richie? What's going on with that? It's like, dude, it's not my business, But
Yeah, and the truth is, there isn't anything going on. To be honest with you, I mean,
Yeah.
we can't tour. I can't.
Yeah, that's true.
I can't do nothing. So there's nothing going on. Is the answer?
Right. Yeah. Did you? I mean, the whole craze for the year at Christ. We even did one of the Monsters live streams. Did you ever contemplate doing one of the live streams?
I signed up for something, one of those companies that organizes it for you, and just so I could know about how it worked. Somehow, it's a weird thing to say, but during this entire pandemic, I have not once longed for the stage. And I'm doing so many conversations here with people. Forgive me if I'm repeating myself, but
no, it's all good.
I had all this stuff booked for 2020.
Yeah.
We have 4 continents, like I told you. I had all these shows. And they took it all down, and it was almost like I didn't know it, but I needed a break. Now this ties back into you brought up Mike.
Yeah.
Maybe he knew something I didn't know. In other words, needing a break.
Yeah,
because I just keep saying yes. They offer me a show, I just say yes.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for years, but once they pulled all this down, and I'm like, all right, well now it's just me and Julia here at the house. I was like, wow, I needed this.
Yeah.
I needed to get the fuck off the road for a while,
Mhm.
because who knows what I would have done,
Right.
mentally, physically, and so I think staying home, although the pandemic is the worst thing I could ever imagine happening, staying home for a year is probably the best thing that could have happened for me. And, probably for Mike too. That's probably a big part of it. So he might have been a little ahead of the curve compared to myself.
Did you take a break from music in general? Did you like, no, so
No,
it's like,
no. I put a single out over the summer, that Raise the Cane song, that actually I wanted that to be a Winery Dog thing, but it never materialized. So I don't like just letting songs lay around. So I just put it up. So I put that up. I have this other tune that I've been writing all year, and I finally just finished it. And my wife came in the studio and listened to it. She said, "What the hell is that?" She said, "You lost your mind." She loved it, but I never heard you write anything that crazy before.
Yeah.
So one day I'll make a visual for that and put it out probably as a single. I don't want to put nothing out now because I'm focused on Adrian.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
but at some point I'll put that up. I have a song, I probably shouldn't talk about it, but why not? I have a song that's almost done that's fucking cool that Stanley Clark and I are working on. Now I'm not sure if that's going to lead to to something. He sent me a track that J.R. Robinson played drums on.
Okay.
And he put a bass on, and they sent the stems over, and I started manipulating it, and I made a song that I think is pretty darn cool. It still needs a few touches on there. So we'll see. We're taking it slow. Maybe that'll evolve into something. I was joking in another podcast. I said, I'm going to have a new band called the Brewery Cats, with
Yeah.
Stanley
Yeah, I
and
heard
JR.
that.
I actually never met JR, so whatever. But this song exists. It's pretty badass. I don't know if we'll release it or not, or if it'll be an album. Who knows what we're going to do? But that's I'm at a point now where I can work like that. Like, what I don't like is working under pressure. Like when you say,
right,
okay, we're going to make this record, and now you got a couple of weeks, and the release date's already planned, but we didn't write the fucking songs yet, man. Let's write the fucking songs and know that they exist. Then we can worry about it. And that's what was so cool about the Smith Kotzen record, is that we didn't even know if we were going to release it. We just let's just record this shit. And then we did it all. And then we didn't know, are we going to release it ourselves? Are we going to try to get a deal, do this, do that? And man, I got to tell you, as an artist, a recording artist, that's the greatest way to work. When you're just in a position where, hey, it's finished when it's finished.
Yeah.
And then you're really just, you're not making bad decisions. You're making great decisions that are honest and true. Now, I understand that everybody has the luxury of working that way. I mean, there is an element of luxury to be able to work like that. But if you have a moment where you can take advantage of that luxury, by all means, that's the best way to work.
Well, yeah, because that's fun. And we do this because it's fun, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Richie, dude, thank you so much for the time. It's always great to see you. And I actually did release something this summer too. I don't know if you knew this or not, but me and a couple of the cats from Soundcheck did a cover of Tender Years from Eddie and the Cruisers.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm going to have to check that out. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. I'm surprised I didn't send it to you when I was hammered some night at 3 a.m. But I will. I'll send it over. But people want to find you. You Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah, I'm out there. Facebook, Twitter. What I got? Instagram, Richie. There's a blue check mark there. So there's a nut running around on Facebook trying to convince people he's me, but I have the blue check mark, and I don't private message people. I don't.
Right.
I communicate usually by speaking on the phone with someone. That's my favorite way to get my point across. So if you're out there and someone's sending you an email or a message, it ain't me, unless it's the blue check mark.
There he goes. Fucking Richie Kotzen, man. Check out that new record, Smith Kotzen. I think it's smithkotzen.com. You can order it right off of there. I'm sure it's on Amazon and everywhere else that you get your music needs. Yes, you can stream it, buy it, CD, vinyl, all that kind of good stuff. Next week, hopefully should have Paul Gargano back. Find out where he's been, what he's been up to, and we know when he comes back, he will have a very nice Jerry Miller tribute. Make sure you guys hit up all the social at Real Izzy Presley all the way across the board, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And if you do want to listen to the show live, if you are watching this on YouTube, hit Spreaker.com/user/Izzy Presley and hit that follow button. You will get notified every single time I go live here on Metal Edge Magazine's Another Effing Podcast, or on the Izzy Presley Show, which I'm going to start doing some off interviews on that too. Those will be up here on YouTube as well. We'll see you next week, and we know as soon as Paul comes back, the Drunken Summits shall ensue. Maiden, Skid Row versus Pantera, all that good stuff. My name is Izzy Presley. This has been Metal Edge Magazine's Another Effing Podcast. See ya!